Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Greater Manchester Stories. My guest this week is Zayna Iman, who's been on Channel 4, Sky News. She has a story that is almost unbelievable. And the first time I saw this story online, I automatically said to myself, I don't believe this. This is just too crazy. But then I met with her in the city centre. We had a coffee and I went through some of the evidence. And that's when I realised something has definitely gone on here. My first reaction was to say, she's probably mentally ill, but no, she has so much evidence of what we're going to discuss today. So without further ado, welcome Zayna to the show.
Thank you for having me, Nick. Thank you for having me.
The first thing is, I would imagine you have a lot of people, like my initial reaction was, this cannot be true and you must be mentally ill.
Yeah, this happened in February 2021. I started raising awareness in April 2021, and a lot of people thought it was far-fetched. And I'm just going to say, I've been naming Pendleton Police Station and Greater Manchester Police since April 2021. I wasn't.
Let's jump straight into your story so people who may not know. Let's start at the beginning. What is your story?
I've made the allegations that I was drugged and sexually assaulted during my time with Greater Manchester Police in February 2021. In February 2021, the same month, I made a subject access request requesting all the footage and data for my detainment. In total, I was with Greater Manchester Police for approximately 42 and a half hours. 40 of them approximately were at Pendleton Station. In 2023, my case got extensive media coverage. And that's when Greater Manchester Police decided to tell the public, not me, not the subject in the subject access request, the public, that they had corrupted 2 crucial hours of footage. But the 2 corrupted hours aside, there's missing footage as well that's not been accounted for. And to date, Greater Manchester Police have not told me. They just put a press release out.
So for people who don't know, police stations have video cameras, CCTV, officers wear body-worn cameras, and these technology were not paid for to protect victims or to protect the public. They were paid for to protect police officers. That's what they were purchased for, to make sure false allegations could be disproved. So that evidence that's gone missing now, or they're saying the crucial hours that we recorded of you has been corrupted, that in itself rings alarm bells. But there's so much more than just that, though, isn't there?
Can I just say, right, okay, so I was detained for 40 hours. So on the 5th of February 2021 and the 6th of February 2021. So the 2 hours that are corrupted is 10 a.m. on day 1 and 1 p.m. on day 2, right? 40 hours, 4 discs, 2 separate hours. Come on. The very 2 hours that I'm alleging something happened are the very 2 hours that something has got corrupted. And I'd also like to say, so I've been making these allegations since 2021. If I was lying, why have I not been arrested to date? Why have a multiple of media outlets covered my story? So my data has been checked by Channel 4 News, Sky News, BBC Northwest, the Independent newspaper, Open Democracy. Why? Well, why would these people and these media outlets risk putting something out if I was just fanciful and delusional, as Greater Manchester Police put it? They don't say that anymore, but that's what they branded me in the early days. And I've been fighting for this footage for over 3 years now, over 3 years. I've got an active complaint against the Deputy Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police, because he's publicly gone out and said, we are not deliberately withholding Miss Iman's footage. You are. I've been fighting for it since 2021. My battle for the footage is documented on my social media account. Social media know, I've got letters from the Deputy Mayor's office, from the Mayor's office, from local MP. a number of bodies. I navigated the entire police complaints process. And it was the IOPC that conducted a police complaints review into the subject access request for the footage. And in December 2022, the IOPC did not uphold that complaint. But at no point did any organisation or anybody say or mention corrupted footage. It was only mentioned in August 2023, right? A day after the independent newspaper specified the hours. So the Deputy Chief Constable Terry Woods has publicly lied. I have got an active complaint. It's been acknowledged by the Chief Constable's office. The Mayor, Andy Burnham, who's also the Police and Crimes Commissioner for Greater Manchester, is unfortunately avoiding the issue. He's not responded to the complaints. So despite the lip service, he's done absolutely nothing to help me.
So it took them 2 years for them to tell you those hours have been corrupted.
They've not told me, Nick. They've not told me.
They haven't.
They've
never told you. They've told the press.
Right. So on February the 1st, I received a 5-page letter, and Nick, I'll send it to you after we've finished recording, but it's 5 pages of absolute waffle. In that page, within them pages, there's 2 apologies. The first apology is for publicly saying that I was not subjected to a strip search, and that strip search was, 1, done for my safety, and 2, it was done under a different legislation, right? I've got the risk assessment. My risk assessment clearly states that there was no legal or policing grounds to conduct that strip search. And Greater Manchester Police have now apologised for putting out, in their words, an incorrect press release. It's not an incorrect press release, it's a false press release. You have lied. So if you're going to apologise properly, and don't say we gave an incorrect statement. Say apologies, we've misled you and we've misled the public. But the issue with the strip search goes one step further, because Greater Manchester Police alleged that the cell footage is an hour ahead, and that's the reason the cell footage does not match the custody records, which is fine. I'm willing to accept that. But even if you deduct an hour from the cell footage, it still does not tally up with the custody records. But then you've got a bigger problem. It actually makes my strip search unlawful, because my strip search would then be conducted at 2:26 a.m. on the 5th of February 2021. But my detention wasn't authorised 4 a.m. So I was strip searched, assaulted by 3 to 4 officers, because I wasn't detained. I wasn't, and they falsified the records, to cover that bit up. Because, like I said, technically the custody records, according to GMP and the IOPC and the Mayor's office, my detention log was opened at 3:04, which I can see. They alleging that the footage is an hour ahead, so I was strip searched at 2:26. But then at 3:19, I'm being searched in the van dock. The van dock is where the vehicle parks up when it arrives at the station. So there's a lot of discrepancies in their data, and my story has been consistent throughout this, despite me being the one with this slight memory recall issues. And this was one of the reasons why I pushed and pushed and pushed for my subject access requests. And I made subject access requests across the board, and the only organisation that did not comply was Greater Manchester Police. So 2 months after I requested my footage from Greater Manchester Police, I'd come to the realisation, because my memory recall started to improve, and then I was getting the flashbacks and the nightmares, and I knew categorically it was Greater Manchester Police. And that's when I started to speak out, started to raise awareness. Was completely ignored by the entire police complaints process. They shooed me off. She's mentally ill. I'm not. I've got 0 mental health issues, post GMP, pre GMP. That's just something that they've created to discredit and invalidate me. Now I've got like a media presence and a social media presence, and it's clear that I have no mental health issues. That is just the most common tactic employed by the police to discredit victims. It happens over and over again. But whether I have or haven't, that's fine. I'm willing to accept that. What's that got to do with my subject access request? What's that got to do with the footage? You know, I just don't get it. You know.
Let's go back to the footage because I believe you've got letters from different senior police officers that state, I've now looked at all the footage of your case, and at no point do they ever mention, apart from the hours that have been corrupted. So at some point, you've got evidence that all the footage was looked at.
Yeah. So I've got, well, the very first letter I've got that says that the entire footage had been reviewed was the deputy mayor's letter, which I received in June 2021. And it said, Zayna, the entire footage has been reviewed. You came to no harm. Fair enough, give me the footage. Nobody gave me the footage, yeah. And I had that throughout, like, so in 2021, 2022, 2023, like, there's no criminality, which is fine, okay? If I've made this up, if I'm lying, whatever, if I've imagined it. But give me the footage, let me have a look at it. So we've got senior officers that have gone on record to say that the entire footage has been reviewed and I came to no harm, yet nobody would ever part with this footage. And at no point has anybody mentioned anything to do with corrupted footage. Like I said, the corruption occurred one day after the independent article specified the hours, the exact hours, and then Greater Manchester Police have put out a press release to say, oh, them hours got corrupted. Still to this date. So what? We're in March 2024. Nobody's told me about my subjects access requests being corrupted and the footage not being available. But Greater Manchester Police have apologised for updating the media before updating me, but they've not said what they're apologising for. So I said, why will you not put it in writing that you've corrupted the footage? And the problem now is, right, so since 2021, because of the memory recall issues and because I became so fixated with building a timeline of, like, the only missing period that I had was for my time with Greater Manchester Police. I started investigating my own case and I've collated so much data. You've seen it yourself. I bought my US.
It's extremely impressive the work you've done on your
I've
case.
got more
Extremely
now.
impressive.
I've got more now, but I've collated a lot of data. And when I say putting all that data into some kind of order, because there's, like, I'll give you an example. There's like 2-3 arrival times, 2-3 departure times. There was 5 check on welfare officers. So I would just want to say to people, a lot of people say, oh, well, you shouldn't have committed a crime. If you hadn't have committed a crime, you wouldn't have got arrested, right? I was a check on welfare. Greater Manchester Police, for a check on welfare, decided to dispatch 2 police vans, 1 police car, 4 male officers and a female officer. For me, I'm 5'5", no history of violence. So they were stood outside from my house for over an hour and I kept saying, go away, do not want you here, do not want you here. And I've always been honest, you know, even before I released the footage, I've always said I was high on the night in question. It was lockdown. And like a lot of people, I struggled with lockdown. You know, I hadn't been out the house for 2 days. I had no visitors and I did a job where I wasn't allowed to work, and like things like where's the next mortgage payment coming from and things like that, you know. So I'm only human and I've owned up to that. So anyway, despite me going on at them for over an hour saying, I don't want you here, don't want you here, they've still broke into my home. You've broke into my home. Yeah. I'm a grown woman. I'm 39 years old. And I said, I did not want you there. You've broken into my home. They've come in through the side of the property and they've drilled the barrel of the kitchen patio door. They've come in through the kitchen into the hallway. I'm stood on the first step of the staircase. So one officer's picked me up, one's tugging at my arm and hurting me. You can see from the footage that's out there, I'm not a big girl, and he was hurting me. And I said words to the effect of, oi, what you doing that for? They've placed me in the kitchen. I'm surrounded by, I think, 3 to 4 officers at this point, and I can't put into words, you know, when you just hear that. I heard the barrel drop, then I heard lots of footsteps. I'm being picked up, plonked into the middle of the kitchen. I'm surrounded. And then this woman comes to me face, and I was that high. I'm not going to lie, Nick. It was quite comical. right? Her glasses looked too big for her face. And I just remember, like, really childishly, it wasn't to hurt her, it wasn't to hit her, but I was one, startled, bemused, and a bit like taken back by it all. And I'm giggling and I've just swiped her glasses. I did not physically touch her. I did not break the glasses. And instantly the handcuffs have gone on. And now some people might say, oh, well, you still assaulted an emergency worker. Dame Vera Baird herself has admitted that I should never have been arrested in those circumstances. So for Dame Vera Baird, who is conducting the public review into Greater Manchester Police Custody Services, which was prompted by my footage and my experience as a central case. So I wasn't wrong about Pendleton. I'm definitely not wrong about my allegations either. I've just not managed to prove them. But I have managed to win over public support. Oh, you can tell. And like I said, so I should never have been arrested. So if I should never have been arrested, everything from that point onwards was unlawful. Okay. It was unlawful. I was falsely arrested. I was falsely detained, excessively, 40 odd hours for swiping someone's glasses. Now, the very first media coverage I actually had was Channel 4 News, and the segment was called Disproportionate Arrests. And the Assistant Chief Constable actually went on and said, we're enjoying increased arrest rates. Now, take it from me, I've been campaigning for like 3 years now. The amount of vulnerable people that Greater Manchester Police arrest to increased arrest rates is shocking. You've got homeless, you've got like people with mental health illnesses. And you know what? What really scares me after my experience, and a lot of people back me up, like, because there's a lot of cases, is the fact that they seem to target single women, in particular, single women with a history of domestic violence. I was one, and that's the trend I've seen, and I can back that up as well.
Yeah, so for me, it doesn't matter if you was arrested or not arrested. It's what happened to you in custody, because even if you were, let's say you was a top criminal, you're a drug smuggler, you violently stabbed someone, that should not lead to you being sexually abused by a police officer locked up in a police station. We've all seen the American TV series, and they're always going on about evidence and DNA. Is there anything like this on your case? Well,
I don't want to go into that because I have got like what I call an ace card. So what I do is, because I've learned a lot navigating the police complaints process, I've always I know not to give any organization
absolutely
or any
fine.
media outlet everything. You always hold something back because it's certain things I'm using as an ace card. So I'm letting Greater Manchester Police carry on with whatever they're doing, and the IOPC, because my allegations. So I want to just also emphasize to everybody. So Greater Manchester Police in July 2023, after conducting a 15-month criminal investigation after reviewing my body worn video, my cell footage, sorry, they said that no officer has committed any crime, which is fair enough. So my question is, what are the IOPC investigating right now? The IOPC took over from Greater Manchester Police in August 2023. That investigation is still ongoing. So if no officer has done anything wrong, what's the IOPC investigating? And Nick, I'm going to send you the email, right? So I had a meeting with the IOPC regional director, Catherine Bates, and the operations manager, Rebecca Ilstorn, who's also the decision maker in my case. So they were providing me an update as well, and they were reading me out my timeline. So I asked them a question, just to gauge how accurate everything is. So I says, could I just clarify with you what time officers arrived at my property? Because I've got multiple versions of times. So they confirmed the time. Now I know the exact time. I know the exact time. They got it wrong. They got it wrong. And I corrected them. I gave them the correct time. And they go, oh, Zayna, it's because the body worn video is an hour ahead. And I says, come on now, right? You're telling me the cell footage is an hour ahead. Now you're telling me the body worn video is an hour ahead. I said, let me tell you, I've got clips. So in total, they were at my property for over an hour, and they've gave me roughly 5 to 6 minutes worth of body worn video. That's it. Why? Because there was no reason to break in. But anyway, yeah. So I said, if you the very first entry in your timeline is incorrect, and I said your entire timeline is going to be incorrect. So do you know what they've done? Bear in mind, this is an investigation. They've sent me the timeline, the entire timeline during a live investigation for me to check it, to send it back to them. I can't make it up. Nick, I will send you the email, and I will send you I won't send you the entire timeline. I'll probably send you page one. They're asking me to check their work. And I'm not going to lie, right? I've learned, like, I've had to play the game with them. So I did kind of say, yeah, send me in, I'll check it over for you, and I'll overlay my timeline on it. I am not doing that. I am not helping you cover up my case. You know, you failed me in 2021 IOPC, you failed me in 2022, you failed me in 2023, you're failing me in 2024. And the reason you're doing that is because you didn't uphold the complaint into my subject access request, and subsequently that very subject access request is now corrupted. And not only that, they're not investigating crucial elements which would prove criminality. They actually have the cheek to say that there was no criminality. I says, I can give you a couple of examples. I says, you've had Greater Manchester Police saying I wasn't subjected to a strip search. Turns out I was. They lied. The Deputy Chief Constable saying they haven't deliberately withheld my footage. I said, you know they have. You did my police complaints review. Deputy Chief Constable there, you know. So like I said, there's a plethora of like errors and failures across the board, and the reason nobody wants to thoroughly investigate is because the issues that I'm asking the IOPC to investigate were subject to a police complaints review with the Police and Crimes Commissioner's Office and the IOPC. So if they were to look into them complaints, they have to admit that they sided with GMP on issues they should not have sided with GMP on. I'll give you an example. One of the 5 check on welfare officers, right? The male officer, he was a temporary sergeant on the night. He was dispatched from Pendleton Station, where I was taken to, because he was trained to break in, so he broke in. Okay, right. Greater Manchester Police falsified his identity, right? And I'll give you an example. I'm not going to name him, right? So they gave me a different rank, right? They gave me a different rank. They gave me a different first name. They give me a different spelling to the surname and a complete different badge
number.
Collar number, yeah.
Wow.
Complete different. It was the IOPC that confirmed it. I actually put a complaint into Greater Manchester Police and saying, why have you lied about this officer's identity? They gave me an outcome letter, Nick, and the outcome letter has still got the false identity. I'll send you that as well. The false identity. Why? So I said to the IOPC, this officer I actually named to South Yorkshire Police in July 2021. Greater Manchester Police did not action that complaint. I want you to look into it. Oh, no, we're not looking into that because that matter's not been referred to us by Greater Manchester Police. Greater Manchester Police are not going to refer any element of my case that proves criminality on their part. So I'm telling you where to look and you are not listening. So what I'm having to do now is any element of my case that the IOPC won't cover, I'm trying to find media outlets, and I've been successful in wanting to find media outlets to cover that element of my case, because that's the only way I will get it covered. I like the boss.
No, it's appalling that you've only got some movement on your case because of national press.
Yeah, they actually admitted it as well, though. You know, when the IOPC wrote to me saying, oh, we've decided to now investigate your case. And they actually admitted due to extensive media coverage, but most importantly, public pressure.
That's
Public pressure.
appalling. It shouldn't,
Yeah,
you shouldn't need public pressure or
yeah.
mass press attention to get justice in this
But
country. You shouldn't need
Nick,
that.
look what I had to do. Look at the footage I had to put out. Yeah. Um, Nobody puts that kind of footage out for no reason. Footage is out there for life. It's going to affect job opportunities. Luckily, I've always been self-employed. It's going to affect relationships, and it has affected relationships. It's always going to be out there. I can't take that back. I've been trolled horrifically. Not that I can, because I'm quite thick-skinned, but it's going to affect me for the rest of my life. And I've done that for one reason and one reason only. I've already been abused, right? I've already been abused. Those officers are still serving. Now, the officer that I've just mentioned, the one that I got the false identity for, he's still working at Pendleton. And I believe, I've been told, he's now a full sergeant. So, who's next? How many more has there been? You don't commit a crime and get away with it and not do it again, you know? And I rarely talk about my memories, because I try not to talk about stuff I can't prove. Now, I'm going to be honest, when I watched Sky News, because like when I'm talking to people, I like to be honest and upfront, and I do overshare. And I think sometimes it's more because I want people to believe me. You know, if I hold stuff back, it's going to sound like half truths. So I try to be as upfront as possible. But when I didn't know which part of my case Sky News were going to cover, because when I was for the actual interview, I was interviewed for 5 hours, and I was actually, oh my God, they've actually said it. They've actually said it, and they've come out with the entire allegations. So I have no regrets. And I just want to quickly say as well, I know a lot of people follow my account because they've experienced things and they are toying with the idea of going public. I'm going to be honest with you, the police complaints process does not work. It's all investigating mates. There's no transparency. And if you can, and if you're in the position to speak out, go public. It's the only thing that yields results. And I've had legal teams fight my corner as well, and they weren't successful either. The media has had more impact than anything else, but like with the media, it's something that you have to do constantly, because something will come out, there'll be a big like melodrama, and then it dies out. That's when you start experiencing problems again. But before I spoke out publicly, this is what the police complaint process entails. There is reprisals. You submit a complaint against any police force, you will be retaliated against. It does not matter what that complaint is, right? So Greater Manchester Police, so I moved to Sheffield when I realised what had happened in April 2021. Greater Manchester Police tried to have me sectioned not once, but twice. I have that in writing, and I've got an apology from Greater Manchester Mental Health. They tried to have an assessment open into my mental health to shut me down. Manchester Police also, the swiping of the glasses was NFA'd in February 2021. It was NFA'd in 2021. Greater Manchester Police created a crime in custody, which I have the footage for. Nothing happened. Even if you deduct an hour from the cell footage, nothing happened. So and the IOPC and the ICO are aware of GMP having proceedings against me in 2022 and 2023. Their abed told me that everything's been dropped, that they should never have been proceedings against me. One, because one of the crimes was falsified, and two, that the swiping of the glasses was NFA'd in February 2021. So for the IOPC to say that there's no criminality, there is. I spoke out because I was desperate. I was at breaking point, and I felt like there was no other way out, you know? There was no other way out. And it's the best thing I ever did, Nick.
Yeah, of course.
I just wish I'd done it sooner.
A minute ago, you mentioned the police crime commissioner. And for people who don't know, that's the mayor. That's the mayor of Greater Manchester. That's Andy Burnham. That's part of his job, is being the police crime commissioner. How much help and support have you had off him and his office? Because he's ultimately responsible for the police.
I first contacted the mayor's office in April 2021. Like I said, that's when I realised what had happened, and that's when I started speaking out and raising awareness. But that's also when I started contacting all the official bodies. I finally got a response from the deputy mayor after writing to the mayor and the deputy mayor in June 2021. And they, like I said, they alleged that the entire footage had been reviewed from custody, so the entire cell footage, and nothing happened. I've had a number of police complaints reviews. So if somebody doesn't know what a police complaints review is, you put a complaint into the police always mark their own homework and side with themselves. Then you have an option of a review, which is normally the Police and Crimes Commissioner's office or the IOPC, subject to the severity. So my complaints went for a review with the Mayor's office and the IOPC, and every single complaint, they're back to GMP. And now, the very issues that they back GMP on is what I was telling them from day one, it's what I was saying, and nobody was listening to me, They just took Greater Manchester's word for everything. And Andy Burnham, I finally met him post-media. So I was on Sky News in July 2023. That story went viral, and that's when Andy Burnham thought, "Ooh, PR opportunity for me," And he's like, I know a lady's been drugged and raped in custody. I'm going to employ my mate, Dame Vera Baird, a Labour peer, to conduct a public review. No, Andy, that's not what you do. You do not waste public money on something that only requires you getting Greater Manchester Police to release footage. No. And I believe they've done that to overshadow the issue of the missing footage, but also to make it look to the public, we're doing something. Yes, they're draining the public purse is what they're doing. For anybody that doesn't...
And also delaying it till after the election.
Yes. So the public review was announced in July 2023 after I released the footage. Andy Burnham told me that I was the central case. The Baird review team also said I was the central case. But the central case never asked for a review. Nobody asked the central case what she wanted. I just wanted my subject access request. So it was announced in July. It was opened in August 2023. And then it's still ongoing now, but they've delayed it. And now they've delayed it to after the election. So it doesn't look bad on Andy Burnham, because as we all know, when the Rochdale review came out, he didn't fare well out of that one, because he referred to young girls who had been groomed, young girls, as young women. Okay, this is the mayor of Greater Manchester. This is your Police and Crimes Commissioner. And to me, I don't believe he takes sexual violence against women and girls seriously at all. The child grooming failures under his belt, under his watch, under his police force are clear as day for everybody to see. And now you've got the Pendleton scandal. So what started off with myself releasing the footage and two other girls in one program has gone into double numbers, 15. Okay, there's a lot of people that won't speak out, so the real-time number will be a lot higher. So, like I said, Andy Burnham, I met him on the 1st of September, and he lied to me. Nick, he lied to me. And I said to Andy, Andy, before you start, let me have my little say. I said, you knew in 2021, but you've gone out to the media and said, "Oh, I'm surprised I wasn't aware of this," which is a problem in itself, because you're the Police and Crimes Commissioner. You should have control over your police force.
And you've also got a letter from his office.
Not a letter. I've got several.
Yes, I mean, you've got letters off him.
Yeah. So one of the letters can be seen on my social media, on my Twitter account. So by all means, have a look on there. But Andy Burnham has been aware since 2021. But in the media, he was saying I wasn't aware. And I said to Andy, Andy, when I met him on the 1st of September 2023, I says, Andy, you were aware in 2021. Can you tell me, how can I trust you when you've lied and you've made it come across that you weren't aware. And he goes, Zayna, I wasn't aware. And I was like, Auntie, I've got the documents with me. Would you like to have a look? No,
He said
no.
no to you.
Yeah, well, he shook. Well, I
He sh-
record everything. I
yeah, he
record
shook his
everything.
head.
So I think he just shook his head, right? So he didn't physically say no, because I think he's quite clued up in that respect to know that I record everything. But yeah, he just shook his head as to say no. And like I said to you, and Nick, I sent you my last complaint, right? Right. I sent a complaint in January this year, 2024, and I sent a complaint in February 2024. Andy Burnham will not respond to that. He will not agree. His PA has acknowledged that, but he actually promised me back last year saying, "Here's my email address. If you ever need anything, feel free to contact me, Andy Burnham. I'm contacting you, and you are ignoring me because you're too busy entertaining buses and footballs." Do you know what I mean? Women and girls should override like buses, yellow buses, not any bus, a yellow bus, and a football club. I mean, that's just me, you know. I think human life is more important, but clearly to Mr. Burnham, it's not. And I'm sick of him and his office saying, "Oh, we've got a new initiative, violence against women and girls, and we're doing X, Y, and Z." Let me tell you, people, they are doing absolutely nothing. Okay, Andy Burnham's response to someone telling him that they've been drugged and sexually assaulted is to pay his best mate, Dame Vera Baird, a ton load of public money to do absolutely sod all. I met this woman, and this woman's disdain towards me as a victim of crime was something else. I'm telling her, look, Nick, I've met you in person and I've told you my story. Not once as a male, not once as a man did you victim blame, did you shout at me, did you try to shut me down. This woman went for me. You know, the videos are on my social media. Please have a look at my Twitter page. She was vile. I asked her to, I've identified two potential suspects, Nick, two potential suspects, right? I know the name of one. The other I've spotted in the cell footage. I've identified two suspects. The mayor is ignoring it. The Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police is ignoring it. The IOPC, who are now conducting my investigation into Greater Manchester Police, are ignoring it. Where are you meant to go? It's happened to me. It's going to happen to somebody else. Not everybody manages to get their voice heard like I have. I've had to fight for it. It's not come easy. Like I said, I was branded a nutcase. It's been a difficult journey, but I have no intention of backing down. But like I said, Andy Burnham is doing absolutely nothing to help me. The public review is not for me, and in my honest opinion, it's not for the others either. It's to make himself look good, you know. Right? If there wasn't an issue with Greater Manchester Police, why are you waiting until after the election for the review to be published? And right. So bear in mind, I'm the only case, right, that is alleging sexual assault, the only case, and I'm the only one experiencing problems, right? And so when I've posted the videos of Vera Baird, because it contradicted what they were going to write in the report, because I'm not being funny, Nick, you're not covering my experience up. If you shut me down, I'm going to scream louder. I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going. Physically, until I'm not going to stop. I have to continue this. Knowing what I know, I've got to continue this. Right. The day that I posted Dame Vera Baird's video, they decided to take my case out of the public review. So bear in mind, it was my case that opened up the review, taken me out for publishing the truth and speaking out, and also the fact that I've released my custody record as well, which contradicts a lot of the stuff that they were going to say. And I'm honestly saying, and the review is to muddy the waters, right? I only asked for my footage. I did not ask for any of this, and yeah, Andy Byrne.
Every review into the police or any government review never leads to change. Every review is only conducted to get the answers the politicians want at the end of the review.
Yeah.
It's always a whitewash So
It is.
yeah,
And it is. And I said to Andy Burnham and Vera Bird, I don't want lessons that'll be learned. I want officers thinking.
yeah, because every officer has to learn now not to rate people in cells. I don't think we need to learn that lesson.
I mean, look, Nick, how sad is it the fact that had it not, like my experience happened in February 2021, right? In March 2021, you had Sarah Everard's case. Had Sarah Everard's case not had happened, nobody would have believed that the police were capable of stuff like this. Now, take it from me, I get messages all the time, right? And I'm even friends with people now as well that have alleged similar to me, right? It's not just people like me, check on welfares, who have swiped officers' glasses. It's not like criminals. It's wives and girlfriends of police officers who have been domestically abused and raped. You know, one of my, I've got a really good friend now, and she's experienced it. Now, just look at the statistics, look at what comes out in the papers. This is happening, and I believe it's happening on a bigger scale than what we hear about, because like I said, not everybody comes forward, and when they do come forward, not everybody's heard. The silencing tactics or something else. Like my latest coverage was on Monday, and as you know, Kaz, we met in Manchester with Kaz. She's using an alias because she's got a right to anonymity, but she's a high flyer, no criminal background, middle class, um, single mom, and she was raped on a date, and the police failed to secure her forensic opportunities. And when she put a complaint in, I took her as my +1 to the Burnham meeting, and GMP tried to arrest her 2 weeks later. So my question is the reason Greater Manchester Police and other police forces don't take sexual violence and rape cases seriously because they're rapists and abusers themselves? And that's not far-fetched, because first investigating officer with professional standards at Greater Manchester Police was himself accused of cell rape. Unfortunately, back in 1984, they managed to discredit the girl that had made the allegations because it was pre-CPS. And this officer retired, and he's working as a civilian officer for professional standards, investigating sex offences when he himself has been accused. Now, for me, as a victim of sexual violence, I will always support victims of sexual violence. If you've been accused of rape, you're always going to have a bias towards other people that have been accused, you know? And I believe that was a calculated move by Greater Manchester Police to assign him to my case. So yeah, there's a lot of problems with Greater Manchester Police, and anybody that thinks that Greater Manchester Police have improved just because they've come out of special measures is very lucky, because I wish I could have that rose tinted look. I can't go back there now.
Let's try to end on something positive. Is there? I mean, you've done a hell of a job raising this. You've done a hell of a job with the evidence trail and collecting the evidence and investigating this crime yourself. Are you confident that you're going to get justice at the end of the day? Are things moving? The press attention must be helping. Are you more confident than you were a year ago?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. Like, we met in 2023, and you've seen the progress I've made since 2023. I've always been confident from day one. And the reason I've been confident is because I know I've been telling the truth from day one. So there's some people that have said, I've had some trolling recently, and they've said, oh, this is like a money-making scam for Zayna. This is like a compensation scam. To this day, I've not pursued a civil case. However, I've always wanted accountability. I've wanted criminal accountability. I've never wanted money. I own my own home. I have my own car. It's not about money for me, this. And I've never asked for money either.
So many easier ways to earn some money than this.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I mean, just look at all my interviews. You will see the look, my face change in every single interview, and it shows. And some interviews, you can see the stress on my face. You know, and like there's very few interviews where I look like fresh as a daisy. But I've I might have to go down the civil route. And the reason I might have to go down the civil route is just to strengthen my case. Because if I get a civil win from Greater Manchester Police, it strengthens my case and it might make it easier for me to get accountability. It wasn't the route that I wanted to go down. On the flip side, I've got not on the flip side, in terms of other projects, I'm working on other media projects as well. I've gave 2 interviews. I'm not sure when they're due for release. I'm working on getting out other elements of the case as well. But as you know, with media, it does take time. But if nothing else, right, whether I lose or win my fight against Greater Manchester Police, I'm happy that I've had the station officially named. I've had Greater Manchester Police put under the spotlight, and I will continue to do so. My only aim is to expose that force for the horrors that they are, and the mayor for the horror that he is as well. And do you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Nick. I do think that he's going to, if he wants the mayor and police and crimes commissioner's job, it's his. But he's not the right person for the job. He does not care about the people. He's self-serving. I've met the man. He lied to my face.
Well, the promise I can make you, if by some miracle I win the election in 6 weeks' time, within the first week you'll be in my office with the Chief Constable and we will get a plan that you agree with and we'll get this sorted as much as possible.
Okay, thank you. But yeah.
Yeah, all I can say is don't give up, carry on, stay strong, and
I'm very
hopefully you will
stubborn,
get justice.
Nick. I'm not giving up.
Exactly.
I'm not giving
Exactly.
up. I've come too far out. Come on, like, everybody thought I was far-fetched, fanciful and delusional and mentally unstable. And like 90% of the public now believe what I'm saying. And there's more stuff that's coming out every single day. And I do believe I'll get somewhere with this. Where that somewhere is, I don't know. But like I said, nobody would put themselves through what I've had to put myself through. I've had to publicly humiliate myself to get my voice heard. And I don't regret it. And my main concern is these officers are still serving, okay? They're still serving, and if they're still serving, it's going to happen again. And like I said, it's so easy to prove or negate what I'm saying. Release the footage. There's only one reason you won't release that footage, And I'm the liar according to Greater Manchester Police. Why would I ask for the footage if there was nothing on it, And yeah, so
No, absolutely. Thank you for coming on my podcast, and
thank you.
hopefully we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you. Hopefully I'll have some good news then. All right, thank you. You too.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. If you like that video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell and comment. And if you like what I'm saying about running for Mayor of Greater Manchester, then stick around, tell your family, tell your friends. The only way I'm going to have a chance of winning is a grassroots movement. So be part of that movement and hit that bell. Thanks.